from South Carolina Public Radio, this is Who, What, When, an hour of history, games, and trivia. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brennan Gray. We are back, and on today's show, it is spooky season. We are getting into the holiday Halloween mood with games that are creepy, that are crawly, and are all around eerie.
You gave me quite a chill there, Bran. Coming up, we'll celebrate Halloween with some scary trivia, see how well you know your phobias, and then we'll gather around the old campfire to hear some presidential ghost stories.
Ooh, spooky. If you want to be a contestant on Who, What, When, just give us a call at 803-470-6347. That's 803-470-6347. Or send us an email at whowhatwhen@scpublicradio.org. And you're going to have a chance to win a Who, What, When fanny pack, and you'll be the weekly winner of Who, What, When. Dan, I got to ask you a question right off the bat here.
Okay.
Do you know your Halloween name?
No, I don't. Is it like first letter of your whatever? I don't know how.
All right, let's do this real quick. What's your name?
Daniel.
Okay, great. What was your birth month?
August.
Okay. You are Slimy Vampire Toes.
Slimy Vampire Toes.
Okay.
Cool, man.
Okay.
What's your
hey, producer?
Producer AT.
Producer AT?
Yes.
What's your first letter?
A.
Got it. What's your birthday?
August.
You are Freaky Pumpkin Toes. Lots of
toes.
emphasis on
Big
toes.
toes.
Yeah, I think August and toes.
Who made this? Who made this list?
It's some thing on Pinterest. I am, in January, haunting goblin cheeks.
At least you're not toes. And that's weird that you would haunt those cheeks. And you know what we've not really mentioned much of?
What's that?
To be a contestant on Who, What, When, you can call that number. Even if you are a ghost, ghoul, or vampire, we will accept all those, but we will not accept any zombies. That's what I
gotta say, I'm uncomfortable with what you have put out there, but them the rules. We'll see what happens.
If
You are a zombie, we don't want any part of that. Get out of here. Don't like that.
That's right.
You're icky.
No zombies allowed. NZA.
Blah.
All right, Brand, should we get to our first game?
I think that we should, Dano. I'm very excited about this because everyone knows the name of our show is Who, What, When. So
right.
you might be able to hear me smile because I'm so excited about the name of this first game. It's called Boo, What, When.
Yeah, Who, What, When. We're getting right into the hard-hitting history. You can tell already.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
I'm done.
You know nothing else.
I know nothing else about what we're doing today aside from the first game being called Boo, What, When.
That's all you need.
That's all I need.
You've been walking on air since then.
I
We're playing a
know.
little game called Boo, What, When, where we're gonna. Okay, I think we've got it. We're gonna challenge our callers' knowledge of a little bit of random Halloween trivia. So I'm sure it's gonna go great. We've got two callers. Caller number one. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, my name is Jordan, and I am from South Bend, Indiana.
Ooh.
South Bend, Indiana.
Rudy.
Rudy.
Sorry, we had to. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us today on this Halloween edition of Who, What, When. I got to know, what are your thoughts on Halloween? Are you a big Halloween fan? Are you someone who decorates for Halloween? What's your Halloween status, as it were?
Yes, I love Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays.
How excited are you for the fanny pack? For possibly getting?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I am so excited. I love a good fanny pack.
I can't stress enough how perfect this fanny pack is as far as a Halloween candy sack. If you need a trick-or-treating sack, this fanny pack is perfect.
From pack to sack, we did it.
That's exactly right.
Jordan, it's not that easy, though. You're going to be competing against our second caller. Caller number 2. What is your name? Where are you from?
Hey, I'm Whitney. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Fantastic. Whitney from Baltimore.
That's
Whitney,
right.
How excited are you to be here? Are you a big fan of Halloween?
Well, I'm so excited to be here. I'm not that big of a fan of Halloween, I have to say, but I've become a bigger fan with my friends having children and getting to trick-or-treat with them and seeing, the light in their eyes and all of that
That's
fun.
fair, yeah.
But
All right, ladies, it's time for our first game, a game that Bran has already decided he loves. It's a little game called Boo, What, When. So we're going to start with Jordan. And Jordan, I'm going to ask you a multiple choice question about Halloween trivia. If you get it right, fantastic, and you get a point. If you don't get a point, and we move over to Whitney and see if she can then take a crack at it.
And listen, callers, if you need help, you can ask me. I got nothing for you really, but I can help you talk it through. I can help talk through why an answer might be correct. So just you can call on me at any time.
Yes. All right. Are you ready to play Boo What Win? Jordan, the first question is yours. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Fantastic. All right. Question number 1. A few years back, one Minnesota man decided to chain a full-size mannequin of this terrifying silver screen villain 112 feet below sea level.
Wait, what?
Was it A, Freddy Krueger, B, Hellboy, C, Jason Voorhees? Which movie star horror villain has someone actually chained 112 feet underwater?
Who is that for?
You got any idea, Jordan?
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
I mean, I think all three of these would be great underwater. You know,
I can't tell you. I do know the answer, but all three, yes, it's underwater, and it has become a tourist attraction for horror movie fans.
All right, I guess you just got to guess one, Jordan.
Yeah. What were the 3 options?
Freddy Krueger, Hellboy, and Jason Voorhees.
Let's just go with Jason.
Let's go with Jason. She did go with Jason, and she is correct.
Wow.
Jason Voorhees is correct. In one of the Jason movies, the Friday the 13th movies, as I'm sure you remember,
Of course.
they sink Jason to the bottom of a lake. A guy in Minnesota decided to, you can go find a video on this. It's the creepiest thing in the world. Full Jason with the mask, and they sunk him and they chained him down there.
Okay.
112 feet below sea level.
So this was something that was documented happening. Someone didn't just come upon it.
No, and people are like, they come and visit it.
Okay.
And this is a weird dude. He collects mannequins. So Jordan did guess correctly. She's on the board, 1-0. Whitney, it's your turn. Are you ready to play a little Boo What Went?
Absolutely.
Whitney, your question. In 2022, this South Carolina city rebranded itself as the City of Halloween.
Wow.
Is it A, Conway, B, Newberry, C, Pickens?
Wendy, I do need you to know, as somebody who is not from South Carolina, I can confirm that all three are real cities. And I don't know if that helps at all, but I just wanted to let you know that.
Well, I did live in South Carolina, so could you just give me those 3 again?
Sure,
so
Whitney.
I can get the order?
It's A, Conway, B, Newberry, C, Pickens.
I'm going to go with A, Conway, and that is my best friend's dog's name.
Okay, best friend's dog's name, and that's good luck because Conway is correct.
Listen, and I think that is a really good strategy.
Yeah.
When in doubt, do you have a friend who has a dog that is one of the answers? Because that's proven to be at 100%
Especially in
way
Boo
to
What
get it
Win.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that comes in handy.
That's who I go trick-or-treating with, and so it just makes sense.
Oh, come
you go.
on. Yeah, that makes too much sense. And I will say, bold of Conway, South Carolina to decide they're the city of Halloween.
I don't know. I would like to listen. Maybe we should have done this live from Conway. A live Boo What Win. People would be going nuts
They'd be going
right now.
nuts for a live Boo What Win. Jordan, it's 1-1. Are you ready for your next question in Boo What Win?
Here, let's go.
Let's do it. All right, your question is, which of the following spooky town names in the United States is not real? Which of these is not real? A, Bad Axe, Michigan. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm having
All
fun.
right. A, Bad Axe, Michigan. B, Demon, Montana. C, Slaughter Beach, Delaware.
Oh, no.
Those are your 3 choices. Bad Axe, Michigan, Demon, Montana, Slaughter Beach, Delaware.
Jordan, do you find yourself to be more of a Bad Axe person, a Demon person, or a Slaughter Beach person?
I guess Bad Axe.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
answer.
that's a good answer. Is that the answer you're choosing that's not a real city?
That is not the answer that I'm choosing.
Okay.
Okay,
great.
good. Thank
I'm
you.
glad we did that.
Gosh, Bad Axe, Michigan. I feel like I've heard of Slaughter Beach.
Okay.
Okay,
I
all
like
right.
I like how you're talking this out. This is good.
I'm not going to go with that one. So, Bad Axe, Michigan.
Do you know any dogs named Demon? You could go with that or something like that.
I don't.
Okay.
My dog acts like a demon sometimes.
Fair.
Demon, is that even allowed?
Did you say, is that even allowed?
Demon is a word.
Yeah,
It
I
is,
don't know.
I don't. Yeah, no, that's a good question. Is demon allowed?
I mean, none of these, Slaughter Beach, none of these should be allowed.
I don't like demons, so I'm just going to go with demon.
Demon, Montana is her answer, and that is correct. And I will say this.
Amazing.
Bad Axe, Slaughter Beach, I wouldn't live there. You
No,
wouldn't live there.
I wouldn't. I
You
wouldn't.
shouldn't. You shouldn't. I wrote this question, and I couldn't compete with Bad Axe and Slaughter Beach. So I just said Demon, Montana.
No, and I think that's a really good,
Yeah.
a really good play. When in doubt, demon.
Demon, Montana. That's right. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. That went too hard, I think.
Yeah.
All right, it's 2-1. We're here at South Carolina Public Radio. It's Who, What, When with Brandon Gray, Daniel Thompson.
I think you mean boo.
But
what,
we're
when.
playing Boo,
Yeah,
What, When.
That's right.
And it's Whitney's question. Whitney, your question. According to a 2021 YouGov poll, approximately what percentage of Americans pretend to not be home on Halloween night? Is it A, 10%? Is it B, 20%? Is it C, 30%?
Whitney, while you're considering all of those possibilities, let me speak directly to those cowards
Oh my gosh.
out there. Let me just ask you this. Who do you think you are? We know who you are. We know what you're up to. You're not fooling anybody. Just play along with us, shall you, please?
Shall you?
We got a potential who, what, when fanny pack out there that needs some candy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all
Fanny
I'm saying.
pack sack.
Whitney, what are you thinking? 10, 20, 30?
I'm thinking 20 because it sounds about right from my experience with trick-or-treating.
Wow, she's run the numbers.
Listen, during my rant about the people that are out there, she took out the calculator and she figured it out. Is she right, Dan?
Is she right? She is right,
Wow.
Brand. 20%, approximately 1 in 5 Americans says, nah, I'm not home. And I think you're right. I think the least you could do is David Cook, leave a light on while I'm gone.
That's
you just
right.
leave a light on, a bag of candy
Really
out there.
well done.
Thank you. A lot of people know David Cook. It's a big deal.
American Idol winner.
Yeah, I didn't Google him while Whitney was answering.
I appreciate your honesty. This is a perfect game so far, Dan.
Perfect game. It's 2-2. Somebody's going to miss one sooner or later.
Perfect game for a perfect title. Boo,
Who,
what, when.
That's exactly right. Here on Who, What, When, South Carolina Public Radio. Jordan, it's your turn. It's 2-2. Your question. Nearly 2 million spectators and over 70,000 participants join in the fun at the United States' largest Halloween parade, which takes place in which U.S. city? Is it A, Los Angeles, B, Chicago, C, New York City?
The fact that Bad Axe or Slaughter Beach are not on this
That's right,
list
that's
is
right.
a missed opportunity for those cities.
Dude, the parade in Demon, Montana is crazy.
you don't want to go there, man.
Jordan, what do you think?
I wanted to say Chicago first just because that's, it's real close.
Think about the wind, though. You got to process the wind.
No. I feel like my luck is running out. I'm going to go with Los Angeles.
She's going to go with Los Angeles, and she's incorrect.
Ah!
Incorrect. It's New York City is the correct answer. There's some history here. This is I believe the parade takes place in Greenwich Village.
Sure.
It is massive. But a lot of the backstory here is Halloween's originally a Celtic and German and Irish tradition, and it came over with the immigrants that originally landed in New York City. And so that is where this parade takes place, and it is massive. You should look up some video.
In my mind, trick-or-treating in New York City is just like pizza and hot dogs, and I'm here for that.
Yeah.
I'd have a
You
good
have
time.
a very interesting vision of New York City.
I do. Everyone's eating pizza all the
Everybody's
time.
eating pizza and hot dogs.
Come
That's
on,
right.
get over.
All right, it's 2-2. Whitney has a chance to take the lead here. Are you ready for your question, Whitney?
Yes.
Okay. Michael Jackson's Thriller has become synonymous with Halloween, especially after the release of the iconic music video. But that wasn't the original name of the song, which doesn't have nearly the same scary ring to it. The original title given by writer Rod Temperton was A, Dress Up, B, Starlight, C, Dreamy Dreams.
That's a great one. Those are great answers. While you're considering Whitney, unfortunately, we can't afford the rights to Thriller, but I can sing it as long as I don't do the correct melody. So here it is for you while you're trying to figure it out. It is Thriller. Thriller, yeah. So there you go. That's all you need to know. That's the song in a nutshell. Whitney, Dress Up, Starlight, Dreamy Dreams. Do any of those stick out to you?
I'm trying to think. I feel like I've heard this before. Dress Up is kind of sticking out to me, but for some reason I feel that that's wrong. I know there are costumes in that, but I'm going to go with Starlight.
Okay.
She's going to go with Starlight. She talked it through, and she's still gotten every single one right. Starlight is correct.
It's a starlight. Starlight, yeah.
Whitney, you're right. It is Starlight. That is correct. Obviously, Thriller, a much better title. You've taken the lead here in Boo What Win. Jordan, you're behind the 8 ball here in Boo What Win. You're down 3-2.
What a great sentence.
You're down 3-2. I don't want to say it's a must-have, but
Don't get scared now.
the stakes couldn't be higher than getting down 2 questions for a fanny pack. Are you ready, Jordan?
I am ready.
Okay. What is the reason that the Library of Congress gives for why black and orange are the official colors of Halloween? Is it A, the first U.S. Halloween traditions use fireworks that only burned orange because colors had not been added yet? Is it B, ancient Celts believed black symbolized the death of summer and orange symbolized the fall harvest? Or C, President Chester Arthur pushed the Library of Congress to make them official, and we don't actually know why.
I mean, I think the news here is that Library of Congress has a dog in this fight. I
know,
didn't think they would really
decided to dip
care.
their toe in the colors of seasons. So
Guys, we got a big
colors
day
of
today.
holidays.
We got a big day today at the Library of Congress. We're voting on the Halloween colors.
But they did.
Yeah. That's
right.
Serious stuff.
Jordan, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go with B. They don't really know why.
C, they don't really know why. That would make as much sense as anything, but it is incorrect.
Oh, Jordan.
We're looking at you, ancient Celts, who believe black symbolized the death of summer and orange symbolized the fall harvest. Dates all the way back to before the United States was a country, if you can believe
I
it.
actually think that's kind of beautiful.
Yeah. All right, Whitney, it's 3-2. You have the lead and the board. Are you ready for your next question?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. According to the Library of Congress, back in action once again, the origins of trick-or-treating, where kids dress up in costumes and ask for candy from their neighbors, possibly originates from a German-American Christmas tradition called A, Belsnickel, B, Hollygiven, C, Jingle, or Bells.
I think you made all those words up. But
Fair.
I do feel like I've heard this before somewhere. I really want to go to the German Christmas market. I feel like the most German word you mentioned is a
Belsnickel. Belsnickel. This is for a 2-question lead. She says Belsnickel. She is correct.
Wow.
Belsnickel is correct. Now, Brand, this is everything you want in a tradition. It's a Christmas trick or treat.
Yeah, I love that, and I think that we should implement that again. But I also want to make a note, AT, if we could go ahead and store Jingle or Bells for a rainy day, I think maybe at the holiday season, I think that'll be a really good game for us, Jingle or Bells.
Jingle or Bells. Up there, they play that a lot in Demon, Montana.
They do. It's huge.
It's unbelievable.
It's
All
actually
right,
a really nice town.
Jordan, you're down but not out. Okay, it's 4-2, but there's plenty of time. We got a whole other game left. Let's see what happens here on question 9. Question, Jordan. A 2023 study found that Americans spend, on average, around how much money on Halloween expenses like costumes, candy, decorations, and greeting cards? Do they spend, on average, around $100, around $150, or around $200?
I'm going through my head on how much did I spend last year? I'm thinking, gosh, I'm going to go with 100. I feel like anything other than crazy.
Man, she's clutch when it counts, Bran. 100 is correct, and she's back in the game.
Amazing.
Back in the game. $100 is correct. To be exact, just over 100, right around $108 is the average. And I got to be honest, we do the full-size candy bars at my house. I'm not trying to brag, but those are expensive.
You're not trying to.
But I do
You just
no
do.
Halloween decorations.
Yeah.
We get a couple pumpkins, we carve the pumpkins, we do the full-size candy bars. I don't think I spend $108.
No, that seems high.
Yeah, but some people go
listen,
nuts.
I'm not here to judge. You got those giant inflatables
Yeah,
or whatever,
giant inflatables,
the
that's right.
giant skeletons and stuff. Those get pricey.
Super pricey.
Real quick, Whitney. I don't want to make things seem too dire, but she's catching up.
That's right.
And this could be a moment for you. You could either go into the second game up by 2 or up by 1. And personally, I think 2 feels a lot better than 1. So this is a very important question for you.
It is. No pressure at all.
Understood. I love the number 2. It's a good number.
Great. Very, very good. It's listen, we're playing Boo What Win. We're playing it here on South Carolina Public Radio.
I forgot we were.
That's right. In a little program called Who What Win. I'm Daniel Thompson. That's Brandon Gray. This is the last question of the round. Whitney, your question. Before carving pumpkins became the thing, the Irish and Scottish carved these instead to remember deceased souls. Oh. Was it A, squash, B, plums, C, turnips?
Oh, this is tough.
It's a tough one.
This is tough. Whitney, do any of those stick out to you?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Okay, repeat them.
A, squash, B, plums, C, turnips.
Remember
I'm
the fanny
going to
pack.
go with turnips.
She's going to go with turnips. Brandon, and she's correct.
Wow.
It is turnips.
However she got there, she got there correctly.
I got to be honest. I found this to be unbelievable. Turnips are relatively small.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And the reason that they switched to pumpkins is because I hope you're seated for a little Boo What Win trivia.
I am.
They switched to pumpkins because they realized it was easier. That's the legitimate. They get to the States and they're like, you can do this on a much bigger canvas like a pumpkin. Great.
You want to know what
Turnips are out.
I appreciate that they're honest about it. A lot of people do things because it's easier and they try to make up some crazy reason. It's
right.
not.
No.
It's just sometimes it's just easier.
Yeah,
And so I
just
appreciate that reasoning. It's
love it.
fantastic. That means that we're going into the second game after this break with Whitney with 5 correct answers and Jordan with 3.
That's right.
Plenty of time though for Jordan to come back.
You're listening to a special spooky edition of Who What When here on South Carolina Public Radio. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I am Brandon Gray. We are celebrating Halloween this week on the show. And we've got our contestants Jordan and Whitney. They are playing with us today.
And coming up after this short break, we'll see how scared they are of some very complex words as we play a game all about phobias.
Boo! That's next on Who What When.
Welcome back to Who What When, South Carolina Public Radio's hour of history, games, and trivia. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. It is spooky season this week on the show with games that are so scary they are appropriate for Halloween.
You got it, Bran. If you want to join in the fun, give us a call at 803-470-6347 or send us an email to whowhatwhen@scpublicradio.org.
We got a couple of ghouls and goblins with us today. They're our contestants from our first game. They're still on the line. We got Jordan, we got Whitney, ghoul and goblin, as you know. And we're heading into our next game that, I got to be honest, it has a really appropriate name for this episode.
We're calling this game Fear Factor.
Oh, nice.
Fear Factor. Now, what we're doing is there are a lot of phobias out there, Bran, and you know a lot. You're afraid of everything. Water, heights, foods that aren't pizza.
I resent it to a certain extent. There are some things that don't scare me, mainly like the good things. But yeah, when it comes to the bad stuff, yeah, pretty scared.
Pretty scared.
Pretty scared.
Pretty scared. Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about 10 different phobias here.
Okay.
And our callers are going to get a chance to answer them multiple choice style. And whoever is winning at the end of this game gets to play for a fanny pack.
It's
All
huge.
right. It's 5-3. We're going back to Jordan. Jordan, are you ready for your first question here in Fear Factor?
Well, ready or not, here we go.
All right. Question 1. Working 9 to 5 got you down? Think your job's a joke? Maybe you've got ergophobia. Or fear of A, offices, B, cubicles, or C, working.
Well, the way you talked about work, I'm going to go with the fear of working.
The fear of working is correct.
Wow. All these years, they called me lazy.
Yeah, just ergophobia.
That's it.
That's right.
That's it.
All right, she's on the board there.
She sure
Whitney,
is.
are you ready for your first question on Fear Factor?
Ready.
Great. Whitney, your question. Does the knife go on the left or the right side of the plate?
I have no idea.
What even is cotillion?
Yes.
I don't want to talk to people. I've got deepnophobia, or fear of A, dinner parties, B, formal attire, or C, team building activities.
I think if we're all honest, we're all a little afraid of team building activities.
Yeah, I don't think anybody.
Those can get out of hand quickly.
That's just called humanity.
That's exactly
There's no
right.
phobia attached.
Whitney, what are you thinking? Dinner parties, formal attire, team building, any stick out to you?
And you're saying dinophobia?
Dipnophobia. D-E-I-P.
Dipnophobia.
Yes.
Well, phobia is fear. Dip, I'm trying to think of what the Latin for that would be. I think it's dinner parties. I'm going to go with that.
She's going to go with dinner parties. She knows her Latin, and she is correct. Man.
This is impressive.
You knew that dip was a Latin phrase.
That's exact. Yes.
That's right.
And so all
Yeah.
those years that I was dipping, I was actually being cultured.
All right, here we go. We're playing Fear Factor. We're talking about phobias here at Halloween time. Jordan, your question. If you're terrified of hanging out with George Costanza, Walter White, Professor X, and Jean-Luc Picard, then chances are you've got peladophobia, or fear of A, fictional characters, B, bald people, or C, a good time.
Oh, Jordan, this is a tough one because I think hanging out with those folks would include all those things.
Yeah.
They are fictional. They are bald. They are a good
It would
time.
be a good time.
It'd be
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
time.
Come on.
It's got to be fictional characters or bald people.
Okay, I like how
All
you're
right,
thinking
all right.
there.
I'm going to go with bald people.
She's going to go with bald people, and she is correct.
Wow. All
It
right.
is bald people. That's right. I mean, Professor X and Jean-Luc Picard, same person. Just realized that. So good job writing that question, Dano. We're playing a little Fear Factor here on Who What When on South Carolina Public Radio. That's Brandon Gray. I'm Daniel Thompson.
Hello.
We've got Whitney. We've got Jordan in a battle for the ages and for a fanny pack. It's Whitney's question about phobias. Whitney, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Krusty Bozo and Ronald McDonald walk into a bar. You pass out from coulrophobia, or fear of A, clowns, B, makeup, C, red hair.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. Whitney, are any of those sticking out?
Coulrophobia. Well, they are clowns, and I'm going to go with clowns.
She's going to go with clown. She's not overthinking it. And that has really helped here because she's correct once again.
She's good. She's
Whitney
good.
has not missed a question yet.
No, she is not.
Which is, I mean, that's a record. And she
Yeah.
still might not get a fanny pack if she doesn't win History of Story or she doesn't win here. So,
That's
I mean,
true.
like, the stakes are high. The
Yeah.
game's hard. Whitney, congratulations. You're right. That is clowns. Bran, how do you feel about clowns?
I'm okay with them. You know, I understand why people are afraid of them, but I just think that how bad can they really be? They make, some balloon animals. They go honk honk.
They kill some kids
They
in a
kill
sewer.
some kids in a
they
sewer.
do all those
Listen,
things.
I think I do understand. I think if Stephen King never created it, I think that we would all be a little bit. The clowns would be better off because I think we would give them a
they
chance.
get a bad name.
But
They
what
give
can you
clowns
do?
a bad name. That's right. All right, Jordan, it's time for your next question. Here it is. If you have omphallophobia, then you're scared of pretty much everyone, aside from maybe Kyle XY, because you have a fear of A, armpits, B, belly buttons, C, fingernails.
Well, with the mention of Kyle XY, I'm going to go with belly buttons because he doesn't have one.
See, you know what? That's correct. Obviously, it's correct. And I knew when I wrote this question there would be a Kyle XY fan out there, and we found her.
An excellent television show.
Yeah, that's
Kyle
right.
XY.
Yeah, Kyle
Do
XY.
I have a poster of Kyle XY that I'm waiting to hang up? Yes, I do.
Things you shouldn't admit anywhere, much less on the radio.
I ain't scared.
All right, things are getting tight. We're playing a little Fear Factor here. Whitney, it's your question. Here it is. I don't want to slide to the left, crisscross, and don't you dare teach me how to Dougie. I've got chorophobia, or fear of A, dancing, B, group activities, or C, learning new things.
I'm going to go with dancing.
She's going to go with dancing. She's right again, Brain. It's unbelievable. The run that
I
she's
think
on.
I would have been able to figure that one.
Yeah,
'cause
that
of
was easy.
choreography.
Yes. All right. Well, Whitney, another one's right. Very good. Jordan, you got to make up some ground. Hopefully it's here.
Did I lose you?
You listen. We only have 4 more questions left. Jordan, you're getting 2 of them, so you can't miss any. And you're going to have to hope Whitney somehow, after a perfect game, misses 2 in a row to
right.
tie it up, and then we'll have to figure that
Here we
out.
go.
So,
Here we go. Here we go.
Let's do it.
All right. I'm not really a morning person, and I guess I don't care for heat, vitamin D, or a stronger immune system. I've got helophobia, or fear of A, summer, B, heat, or C, sunlight.
I think with the helio, if I remember correctly, has something to do with the sun. so I'm going to go with sunlight.
That's exactly right.
Look
It's
at all these
sunlight.
smarty pants out
These
there that
smarty
listen
pants.
to Who What When.
This could be it. This could
be
be the final question of Fear Factor. Whitney, if you get this right, you're moving on to play for that vaunted Who What When fanny pack. Your question, Whitney. I've got sinistrophobia, which sounds sinister, but as long as you write like me, then we'll be all right. Because I've just really got a fear of A, ballpoint pens, B, left-handed people, or C, typewriters.
I think it's left-handed people.
Okay. She thinks it's left-handed people, and it would come as no surprise to anyone that Whitney is right again.
Wow.
Whitney,
The perfect
game. She closes it out going 9 for 9, winning both rounds. And Jordan,
An almost perfect game by Jordan, but just not perfect enough,
That's right.
unfortunately. And that is a good lesson to learn here on Who Will Win. You have to bring it.
You got to bring it.
And you got to be perfect.
You got to bring it. We're very serious about our games.
That's great.
We are.
Jordan, thanks for playing Boo What Win
Yes.
and Fear Factor and joining us here on this episode of Who What Win.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Jordan, could you leave us with your most evil laugh?
Oh, God.
Okay, it wasn't.
love it.
It wasn't great.
I love
it wasn't
it.
great.
I thought it was
It wasn't
wonderful.
great, but I
I'm
loved
not
it.
very evil.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Jordan, for playing. We appreciate it.
You're listening to Who What Win, South Carolina Public Radio's hour of history, games, and trivia. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. We are so excited, so scared about Halloween that we've got a whole show about those things today. The things that go bump in the night. Nothing but spooky games today.
Coming up after this break, we got 3 presidential ghost stories, but only 2 of them are true. Can you guess which ones they are?
That's next on Who What When. Welcome back to Who What When, an hour of spooky history, scary games, and shocking trivia. Here on South Carolina Public Radio, I'm Brandon Gray, and that's my best buddy in the whole world, Daniel Thompson.
Thanks, Fran. It's Halloween here on the show with games to help put you in the spooky season mood. If you want to join in on the fun, give us a call at 803-470-6347 or send us an email to whowhatwin@scpublicradio.org.
And we've got Whitney on the line. She won our earlier games, and now she has a chance. I repeat, a chance. Nothing is guaranteed for the title of Who What When Champion of the Week and a Halloween edition of the Who What When Fanny Pack. It's huge. It's big. She had a perfect game so far. She has not gotten a single scary question wrong all episode. But can she make it through the final game? That's the question.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, Brand, if you watch baseball and a perfect game's going on, you stay where you are, you don't move, you also don't say anything.
Oh,
we have
sorry.
said something, so it's a little superstitious, which fits in well with today's episode.
does.
Everyone listening right now who wants Whitney to win, wherever you're listening, your car or your house, don't move. Whatever you've been doing, keep doing it because a perfect game is on the line.
It's a freeze, boy. If you got to circle the block a few times, you got to circle that block a few times.
That's
Nothing
right.
to do.
You can't change anything. You could ruin Whitney's mojo. You would be to blame if Whitney doesn't get this perfect game. And send that positive energy her way. Help us all help Whitney to complete the immaculate game here on Who What Win.
Yes,
Whit-
because I feel like you're also trying to curse me like the announcers do
That's right.
when they
Yeah,
say
yeah.
there's perfect game.
She hasn't
And
missed one
up.
yet here on Who What Win. Whitney,
Don't this turn us on. This isn't our fault. If you get it wrong, Winnie, don't blame us.
you just have to get the right answer in our final game today, which is one we call History or His Story, aka My Story. I'm going to tell you 3 stories from history. All 3 of these stories are about presidents that have had encounters with ghosts.
Yeah!
Right, or so they claim. U.S. presidents' encounters with ghosts. 2 of these stories are true that they claim they have. One of them is a story that I completely made up to try to fool you. Your job, Whitney, is to try to figure out which one of these stories is fake. And they're 3 heavy hitters in chronological order. We have stories about George Washington,
Check.
Andrew Jackson,
Check.
and Abraham Lincoln.
Oh my, I know all 3 of them, which is a great sign for me to be able to give you some help, because if I didn't know, I wouldn't be able to help you at all if I didn't know.
And you
any of
love
them.
ghosts, too.
I love ghosts.
Yeah, you do. Whitney, are you ready to play a little history or history?
Absolutely. I've also heard of all 3 of those presidents.
Oh, that's good. That's a good start. All right, here we go. In chronological order, so we'll start with George Washington. Here is your first story. It's called Detective George Washington and the Friendly Ghost.
Oh, that Casper movie.
That's right.
My
You
favorite.
love it? You'd be hard-pressed to find a less superstitious president than our first, George Washington. Washington was a war hero, natural-born leader, and was more likely to have legends and tall tales written about him than he was to believe in them, which is why it should come as quite a shock that George Washington believed he knew a friendly ghost. Growing up in Little Hunting Creek Plantation on the Potomac, Washington's childhood friend Jonathan Stinson died of cholera at a young age. While this was fairly common in the 1700s, what wasn't common was that Washington claims he still saw the ghost of Jonathan from time to time. Now, this wasn't just a passing fad or an imaginary friend of a young boy. Diaries of George Washington show him talking about and to Jonathan even in the years following his presidency. Here's where it gets crazy. Not only did he continue to see and speak to Jonathan, but he became rather obsessed with the notion that Jonathan had been murdered by his own father.
What? Why?
Little Sixth Sense action.
No kidding.
The symptoms of cholera were similar to the effects of arsenic poison, and Washington believed that Jonathan was telling him from beyond the grave, Sixth Sense style, that his death was no accident. Washington never found any proof of foul play, and by the time this obsession came to fruition, it was years after the death of Jonathan's immediate family and Washington's presidency. But he did journal about his ongoing friendship with his possibly murdered childhood best friend. That is the end of story number 1. Brand, what do you think?
I think that that's, one, a really nice story, and I think it's really, really sweet. Whitney, your thoughts on this, and do you have any questions about the story that you would like clarified?
Where did you say that he grew up?
He grew up in Little Hunting Creek Plantation, which is just on or around the Potomac.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've
Which
been
is-
to Mount Vernon. I feel like there is a ghost story type tour there. I'm trying to, pull back those 5th grade memories. My mom would definitely know the answer to this because she still goes every single year.
Wow. Yeah, and this is, I want to clarify that, like, he does move to Mount Vernon.
Of course.
This is
Yes.
his childhood home. Yeah.
Right. No, I'm saying that they tell stories,
Yes, of
at
course.
Mount Vernon when you go on the tour. I know that's not where I grew up.
Okay.
And Washington, he didn't lie, right? So if he wrote it in his diary, it's probably true.
That's right.
Notorious not lie teller.
Yeah.
All right, lots to think on. You want
And when did the friend die? Did you say that, of
the
cholera?
friend? Yes, the friend died when he was 9 years old. I don't remember the year. I think that was like 1741-ish. All right,
great.
here we go. Second story's about Andrew Jackson. It's called The Witch That Scared Old Hickory. Before Andrew Jackson was the 7th president of the United States, he was a war hero in both the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. In the early 1800s, Jackson lived on a cotton farm in Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. It was there he heard tell of the Bell Witch, one of the most famous haunting stories in our nation's history, and one of the origin stories of a lot of our movies, like ghost and supernatural movies that we have. Yeah. In 1817, a farmer, John Bell, saw a strange creature in his cornfield, fired his gun at it, thought it was a big animal trying to eat his corn. This became the first of many sightings of large animals by Bell and by his family until, weirdly enough, John became very sick in an odd way.
What do you mean, an odd way?
His tongue swelled to the point to where he couldn't digest any food at all.
Oh
That's
my
right.
gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it is odd.
Yeah.
And also terrifying.
But because it was the time that it was, they couldn't just leave and go somewhere else. This was their farm. This is how they made their land. This led what the Bell family described as a spirit that would haunt the family and any visitors. So this spirit, this witch, wouldn't always be mean. Sometimes it would be nice. So sometimes people would show up and it would be like blankets would be pulled off of them, Conjuring style. You would hear people, it would get in arguments with people in the family, and sometimes it would be kind to others. There were even reports of the Bell Witch would stick pins in family members and throw them to the ground.
Well, that's not kind.
Yeah, one day John was beaten so badly by what his family called an invisible foe. They just saw him getting his tail kicked, but they didn't know by what.
Should we intervene? Nah. John's got it.
John Bell was eventually found dead from poison with a vial of strange liquid next to his body.
Yo.
Yes. So where does Andrew Jackson come into the story?
I was going to ask.
Old Hickory had a reputation of being fearless. He was shot a bunch in war. He couldn't die. And one of the things he did before he was president is, upon hearing about the legend of the Bell Witch, he decided to take a trip to the Bell Farm in 1820. That's right. He's like, this is ridiculous. I'm going to go check it out.
That's my president.
According to Andrew Jackson, upon entering the house, dishes were thrown at his face, and he wasn't allowed to leave the farm. He physically couldn't leave the farm.
Was he frozen, like sleep paralysis?
He something in his brain would not let him leave the farm.
Oh, okay.
And until he stayed a night there. Okay. So he stays one night there, restless all night. He's able to leave the premises, and upon leaving the premises, he claimed that he would rather fight the British again than face the Bell Witch. That is the end of story number 2.
Wow, that's great. Dan, how do we know this about Andrew Jackson? Did he write about it? Where did this kind of story come from?
Once again, it's a ghost story, so we're kind of murky here on South Carolina Public Radio. A little history of his story, ghost edition. This is all reports of his reaction.
Okay.
So these are all secondhand reports.
From people that were still there that saw him enter the house.
Yes, or like oral tradition and people writing about it. And there's definitely a hearsay element, which, to be fair, there's a hearsay element with all 3 of these stories, but there's a definite hearsay element here.
Of course.
Yeah, Whitney, what do you think?
I feel like a lot of that story sounds true. I think I read either some type of book about Andrew Jackson, and I kind of remember the Bell family as being a real family, so it sounds true. And also I like the fact that the witch was nice. That's a good part of the story. See?
Whitney looking for silver linings.
Remember when the witch was nice?
Yeah.
Remember when Whitney was, or the witch was nice for a little bit? That was nice.
That was fun. That was a fun time.
That was a sweet part.
I think a lot of the background sounds accurate from what I know about Andrew Jackson, and again, I think the Bell family, I kind of remember that name, but
I love it.
And I just want to say, as somebody who's played this game a lot, that's how they get you. When they talk about some names that you've heard of, a bit about Andrew Jackson.
I give you a true backstory, and I slap on a
like
line,
Andrew Jackson. He's awesome. This is something that he would do, or maybe that's what he wants you to think. I just want you to. I don't know. I just want to put that in the back of your mind as you're about to hear this third story.
All right.
And you're the champion of history.
Well,
story, right?
Thank you for saying that. Yes, I've always said that.
It's weird of her to say. That's right. Yeah. He's retired.
I've retired. I don't want to. Listen, I'm just here to help.
The guessing gown. I don't know what you call it. You hung up something. Whitney, you ready for the third story?
A guessing gown.
That's right. This story is about old honest Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln and the ominous spirit.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln won his first term in office in November of 1860. The election sparked the South's initial secession and the eventual Civil War. The evening after the election results came in and Lincoln knew he'd be president, he could not sleep. Upon standing up from his bed, he saw some sort of apparition in a looking glass. What he saw was a figure that looked similar to himself reflected, but 2 of them. It had 2 images. The noses were 3 inches apart, and one of them was very pale and ghastly. That is the idea. Now, this seems like a pretty easy, I'm tired, I'm seeing double situation.
Right.
Lincoln initially believed this to be his mind, overtired, in need of sleep. But over the months that followed his election, even after Lincoln gets into the White House, he still occasionally would see this image through looking glasses or mirrors or what have you. Lincoln became so obsessed with this image that he began to try to recreate it through experiment in his White House.
Okay.
He would sleep different amounts of time. He would try different mirrors and looking glasses. He insisted it was an optical illusion. He refused to believe it was anything from the spirit realm. He just couldn't seem to make it happen when he wanted to make it happen. Now, Lincoln believed it to be an optical illusion, but his wife, Mary Todd, different story. Mary Todd Lincoln, a known believer in ghosts, even held seances in the White House.
That's right.
She gave her interpretation of this spirit after Lincoln finally admitted what was going on. You ready for this? She believed it was a sign that Lincoln would go on to win a second term in office two of them. And the paleness of the second one, Mary Todd Lincoln said that it was a sign that if he got reelected, he would die while in office. Whether or not Mary Todd had any supernatural skills remains to be seen, but sure enough, Lincoln didn't see the end of his second term.
Wow.
That is the end of story number 3.
Mary, if you're listening, what do you see for your boy Bran?
That's right.
How's this all going to end for me? I'd like to hear that. What a wild story. Again, this is another one of those things where a lot of this are things that are true about some of these characters of history that we've heard so much about. How true is this? I don't know. Whitney, what are your thoughts on this story?
I don't know. It sounds like Mary Lincoln was ahead of her time. And then also, I know presidents don't age well when they're in office. And that's just a fact. Maybe that's what he was saying. So it sounds realistic. So I like that maybe it was just him seeing his future. Yeah, so I'm good.
Okay. All right. Now, Whitney, I'm about to ask you which of these stories you think is my story and a lie, and that's going to determine if you get a perfect game and a fanny pack. So no pressure. I'm going to let you sit on that for a second.
Whitney, you are about to make your guess for History His Story here on Who, What, When. Dan just gave you 3 stories that scared me so badly about the presidential encounters with ghosts, and you need to figure out which one Dan made up. Again, the 3 stories are George Washington's lifelong relationship with the ghost of a childhood friend and George's mission to find out the real cause of his friend's death, or Andrew Jackson trying to prove his fearlessness by spending a restless night going up against the famous Bell Witch, or Abraham Lincoln spotting a ghostly vision of himself, which his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, said was an ominous warning that he would die in office.
That's exactly right. Whitney, it is the moment of truth. Which story is my story?
No, I think the first story is your story, the one about George Washington.
You think the George Washington and the friendly ghost story is my story? Accurate? That's what you think. Okay. Bran, you thinking along with her?
I actually am thinking along with her. That one seems the most like, well, one, it seems kind of like the least one that you can kind of prove. You know, like, hey, I see it. I'm going to write down this stuff. It seems far-fetched as a ghost story, much less something that actually happened. These other 2, listen. I buy 100% that Andrew Jackson had this experience, and Mary Todd's my girl, and I'll go with her wherever. So I think those second 2 stories are real. The first one, not so real. So I think Whitney's right, and I think she's going home with this fanny pack.
Here we go. We ready?
We're ready.
Yeah.
The Abraham Lincoln story and the ominous spirit is true. 100% true. Mary Todd Lincoln,
my girl,
ahead of her time, accurate, Whitney, and a wild story that a lot of people have said this actually happened was true. The witch that scared Old Hickory is also true.
Oh, yeah.
Is also true, which means one thing and one thing only, no Ghost Jonathan, but yes, fanny pack for Whitney, who has completed a perfect game.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Whitney, congratulations. Now's your time. Is there anybody that you want to thank for your big victory and your perfect game?
How are you feeling, Whitney?
Feeling great. Very excited about this fanny pack. You say it's Halloween themed.
I did say that. Yes, I did. Thank you.
I'm going to use it when I go with my friends with their children to trick-or-treat, and I just feel great about it.
I do want to be clear on the Andrew Jackson story. This is basically folklore if you're listening.
You don't have to give any. Listen, we know it's true, and there's nothing else that you have to say.
Basically folklore. Whitney, you're our first ever perfect game. Thanks for being here all hour long with us on Who, What, When, and congrats on that big win in the fanny pack.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
Thank you, Whitney. And that'll do it for this Halloween edition of Who, What, When. Congratulations again to the episode's winner, Whitney, and thanks again to our other contestant, Jordan, for playing with us today.
Our producer is A.T. Shire. Our executive producer is Sean Birch. who started celebrating the Halloween season way back on September 1st.
Duh. This show is a production of South Carolina Public Radio and made possible in part by listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina.
If you want to be a contestant on Who What When, give us a call at 803-470-6347. That's 803-470-6347. You can also email us at whowhatwhen@scpublicradio.org.
You can find out more about the show and listen to this episode again at our website, southcarolinapublicradio.org/whowhatwhen.
And don't forget that you can subscribe to Who What When wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. Join us again next week for more history, games, and trivia right here on Who What When.